Hi, Chastity, and welcome to Two Sisters Drinking Tea podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I have to say that you are our very first interview for this podcast. So
Okay.
it's so special.
It is, it's really.
But before
you.
we get started on the interview, I do want to thank you for something you did for my husband back in the day, the ladder.
Wow.
Yeah, that actually helps out.
Okay, the ladder. So that was a piercing, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, I've been piercing for 27 years. So I've done a couple of ladders, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, you did his, and
All
I'm like,
right.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I always like to hear a success story. For
Oh
sure.
yeah, there's a success in that one. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely with that one. I mean, I even, he had to have surgery, so he had to take everything out. I said, you better put it back in.
Wow. Okay.
I made him put it back in.
How many piercings are in that exact ladder?
I think it's 2 or 3 now. I think it's just 2 or 3.
Okay.
I was like, okay, we're good.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad I could help.
Oh, yeah, you sure did. It makes it better for me. But...
That uncomfortable
Sorry.
silence.
No,
Oh,
it's
it's
just,
the interview.
whenever I first, I saw those, ladder, I'm like, okay, I know 2 different type of ladders, but which way are we going to go with this? And we went with that.
Oh,
and
it's a
went,
very good ladder.
oh, heard. Got it.
Oh, yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey between boxing and opening up your own shop, tattooing, and piercing, all of that? How did everything come about?
Well, I was tattooing at age 18. I had ordered a tattoo kit at a Soldier of Fortune magazine. I worked at Waffle House. Waffle House was my first job, and I used to like the magazine Soldier of Fortune, and I see tattoo kit. I think it was $49.99, and so this was back in the day when we didn't have Amazon, and UPS deliveries. You could actually pay cash to the delivery person, and so I'll never forget it. I ordered it $49.99. I got a postal money order, sent it in, and then I got a tattoo kit, and I started tattooing at age 18 in my apartment. And then I met my first husband, who not only apprenticed me to tattoo, but was one of my first business partners. So LA Body Art was opened right on the cusp of me turning 21 years old, and I've done a multitude of things. Boxing is something that everyone seems to remember because it was so covered by the media. Mm-hmm. And the funniest thing about that, it was a complete accident. Randall Yonkers, a world-class champion fighter out of Mobile, Alabama, had seen me on television. And so he came into the studio to meet me, and we met, and he asked me if I wanted to go to the gym. And so I took that invitation, and I didn't realize it was a boxing gym, but anyway, we met up, and he took me to the boxing gym, and I was in the boxing gym just having a good time, working out, and the promoters for the Ollie Martin fight came in, and they saw me in the gym, and they asked me if I wanted to open the Ollie Martin fight. Well, before even thinking it through, next thing I know, I signed a contract, and well, I had my first fight, and my first fight was a pro fight. So, yeah, hindsight, yeah. I can remember being in training for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then it was finally reality that I was actually going to fight another person in front of a large crowd. And I mean, to say that at the Biloxi Coast Coliseum, which was a sold-out house of 10,000 people. So I had already stepped up too far in the media and the spotlight, and there was no way I could back out. So it was something that I had to walk through that door. I really didn't have a choice. My pride was so thick. And how could you face that? Accepting the fight, the news media covering you training, and then, you step up and then you don't fight. So that wasn't an option. So it's something that I got into on a complete accident, and I had no choice other than to follow through with. And I made the best of it. I'll tell you that right now. I had a really good time. It was an experience that carried on throughout my business career. As after my first fight, I did open that fight, and I did the first minute of that fight, I got my butt whooped. Actually, I can remember. I remember like it was yesterday. But the girl that I fought, had 17 amateur fights, and I had never had an amateur fight. So she come out and I thought, she was going to throw a jab or two and fill me out. That's what, that's the way you think it's going to go down. You're going to come out and they're going to throw a few jabs. No, this girl came out and hit me with a 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 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 boom. And I mean, she beat me good for over a minute. And I recognized a voice. I remember seeing, it was cloudy, so probably I was on the verge of being knocked out. Mm-hmm. And I heard Willie Rogers, this security guard from Signal, who had bought a front row seat. I literally heard Willie go, "Oh, Chaz!" I heard it out of all of that cloudy, and I realized I'm getting knocked out. And so I had to wake up and come to. And next thing I know, I landed a couple punches that knocked her mouth guard out, and I just remember her head snapping back, and it was all blood. And as soon as that was, they called it, and of course I won the fight by technical knockout. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness I got out of that ring. Thank goodness. And so anyway, after that, I got an option to buy a fight gym out of Mobile. The Fight Club. The Fight Club was a pretty popular place. It was owned by the former deceased now Joey Barrett. God rest his soul. Joey and Cheryl Barrett are no longer with us, for those who are from Mobile. But Joey Barrett owned the Fight Club, and I was working out there, and he made me the offer to buy it. So I bought the Fight Club and 17 fighters. So I threw my own fights for about a year, and then I fought on that card as well. And I did not plan on fighting then. But I come out of retirement at age 35, and I did take another fight. I fought at the Abbott Temple Shrine, and I did win that fight by knockout. But it's something that I fell into, and I just happened to make it work. I was never, I was not fighting in the streets or anything like that. And people tend to really relate that to violence. But no, I won't fight if I don't get a check. Okay, let me make that very clear now. Don't challenge me, because I'm only fighting for a check. And but
Ain't
anyway,
doing it for free.
It was a lot of fun. But I've owned many businesses. I owned the first Martini Bar on Dolphin Street. I owned a couple tattoo shops, boutique. I owned the first head shop in Mobile since the one in Bel Air Mall when I was young. So there was a smoke shop in Mobile like in the 80s, and it was closed down. And then in 1998, I opened the first smoke shop, and then Grasshopper Flats followed me. Then, well, now they're on every corner. But, I was selling pipes and stuff like that when, you had to be really careful about. It's so funny. We kept everything under the counter. Mm-hmm. But I've always been an entrepreneur, and everything that I've ever really dabbled in that took a lot of my time, I always found a business angle to take on it, because I was always highly motivated.
Now they got 6 shops that are selling pipes.
They're selling them at the gas station now everywhere. And I had to go through the open-ended glass law, which they did try to shut me down. And they proposed a law before the council, and they stated before the Mobile City Council that paraphernalia was being sold a block from the courthouse. And so they did pass some laws against open-ended glass. And I went through that whole struggle of it being legal one day, not legal one day, and just the whole legality of it. Oh, I suffered. I made a lot of money because, of course, when you have that type of regulation, they're not being sold everywhere. I mean, you've got to be a real bandit to do it. But I got to sell pipes. I got to be an outlaw when being an outlaw was okay. But now, you can buy them
anywhere.
So the paraphernalia, I've watched every industry change drastically because, of course, I started my business before the computer era and the computer generation.
So when COD, cash on delivery was out, and so they come and deliver your stuff. You just give them the cash.
Oh man, COD was the best.
Oh, I know they don't do that no more.
No, you've got to have credit cards, and everything is tracked, and then your information's put in algorithms, and we've lost a lot of our ability to choose because we're getting hit with so many advertisements in our face all day long, constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stimulus. So,
I hear that all the time, and I'm like, no, not for us. We're not getting that.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I've even looked it up. So
It's enslaved.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
everybody's wanting a
enslavement.
stimulus, but
Right?
I'm like, what are you gonna do with it? I mean, it's not worth anything really. But I mean, I remember like whenever I watched your show, I watch it all the time.
Right?
And because I was so amazed by it, and I was like, but what inspired you to do that show? Like,
I do not. Well, yes, I do know. I originally was interested. If I would have taken a college career, I was going to have majored in broadcasting. I had a radio show when I was 16. I had a scholarship at Spring Hill College for broadcasting. So I was already interested in media, but I was always an artist, and I ordered the tattoo kit, and I started tattooing. So, I mean, my true original passion was broadcasting.
Yeah.
And so I started tattooing, and I just was ahead of my time. I'm the first tattoo talk show. I'm the first person to ever tattoo on television. I kind of paved the way for Kat Von D and those others, and they got the check for all my original groundbreaking work. But I'm actually taken 12 years of that show, which I did not upload to the internet because I was a very severe late bloomer with the computer generation. I'm still very anti-computer. I never uploaded any episodes, and so Tattoo Chat is not available you can't find it on the computer, online, on YouTube, or anything. I have all of that intellectual property. I have all 12 years of those videos on old VHS tapes and DVDs. So I've got to decide what I want to do with that intellectual property, because when it's put in front of the public, they're going to see a side of tattooing that's really primitive compared to now. It's very, very primitive. Original, hand making stencils and needle making and things it's a different world than those lights and those shiny mirrors that they've seen on those shows. I did original
I remember
tattoo parlor tattooing style, so it'll get its own type of viewer and fan base, and we'll see what the reaction is, and then I've got to make that decision if I really want to put that out there. And
they didn't change the whole tattoo thing around, because it used to be the gun. I mean, the tattoo thing, you could hear it.
Oh yeah,
and now they just got
the rotary machine.
It ain't even hooked up to nothing, and you don't hear it.
It's crazy.
Some of them.
Well, it's a rotary,
Yeah.
I got somebody sent me a rotary machine in 2000, and it was from the UK, and they wanted me to try it and use it and review it, and that was my main complaint, was I couldn't hear it, and it was just it looked spacey, and it actually, because it's very light, it was made out of titanium.
Yeah.
So I still have that rotary machine from like 2000, but the industry's changed so much. So like I said, when the show is available for worldwide viewing, they're going to see a very primitive side of tattooing. So I'm interested to see how that's going to turn out. And so be on the watch for that. That's coming up in the future.
Oh, I'm excited.
I think that would be really good, especially for people now that are going into tattooing and not really knowing the history of it, how it started. Because a lot of cultures now worldwide still do the needles and everything like that.
I've seen that,
I think that'd be really cool and interesting for people who do tattoos now, who are around my age, that are like, oh, this is how it started, when in actuality it's not. They had to hand make their needles.
Yeah, we handmade.
Had to plug in everything and all that. Like, I know the history. I have family who've done tattoos, like basement tattoos and stuff like that, but like I still know the history because I was so interested in it. So I'm not going in and be like, okay, I can draw on an iPad, here we go. No, I can hand draw all my stuff. I don't really like digital drawing. It's too difficult for me to do. I can't sit there and like erase it. I don't have the guidelines or stuff like that.
I remember walking up to my aunt's house, and my cousin had like the needle thing, and they had like the
sticking
pen
point.
Ink. They had the pen ink, and he did a Ricky Lake tattoo. I'm like,
wow,
why Ricky Lake?
Why not?
I think he still got it. I ain't even sure. I have not.
I still have my sticking point, stick and poke, a smiley face, and a frowny face. I just did it because it was just one needle. I was just like, you know what? Maybe this will help me. It didn't help me get over my fear of needles. So
there is a definite relation with mankind. Just it's a second. It's, for some reason, it's a nature to want to mark the body. That's why you see little kids drawing on themselves, and so it's a very deep rooted.
Yeah, I say I'm decorating my temple. My soul's inside.
Yeah,
I'm just decorating.
That's what a lot of people like have their body as a temple, and a lot of people like are against tattoos, but temples, cathedrals, and everything are all just decorated and colorful and all that. Why wouldn't you want to?
I was told that I was told by a certain religion that if I stop getting tattoos, then I will go to heaven. And I said, well, I don't think God minds.
You know, the Bible's really, there is Leviticus. The book of Leviticus is very stringent about marking the body in honor of the dead, and that is something that I've had to put some thought into. I am retired. I still do a tattoo every now and then, but I did join a holiness church in 2020, and so I've structured my life a bit differently than what I used to. And you know, we all have different paradigms of our life: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. But you know, not everybody has found religion. I think, you know, first of all, I think that when we were living in the tattoo era, nobody was even thinking about the end of the world.
Yeah.
We weren't praying through the day.
I know.
But we are now.
I know. Everywhere I look.
Yeah.
Everywhere
Like the world was
look.
supposed to end in 2012. Right. I'm sitting there in the back of my dad's car and just like.
Oh, I sit there.
Now,
and
you and you're going to remember this. Do you remember Y2K in 2000?
Yes, I do.
The
yes.
Y2K.
I sat on my computer to make sure it didn't happen.
We had a clock in LA Body Art, and it had the countdown. And so we truly believed, for those of you who were not old enough to remember the Y2K phenomenon, are you old enough? No.
I do know it, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, well, everybody.
I may have not, like, I was born in 2002, so like all of that stuff kind of just.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you weren't alive.
I wasn't alive, but my mom, she was just like, so like all of this happened, and I was like,
yes.
Oh.
So if you were alive during Y2K, it's your duty to tell the younger generation what Y2K phenomenon was about. We all believe, everyone in the world believed that the computers were not going to be able to roll over to the 2000.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
The system was going to blink out. The lights were going to go out. It was going to be mass hysteria. We were prepared.
I remember that, yes.
The Y2K was going to be the end of our world. And I mean, 3, 2, 1, I was waiting for the lights to go out, and it didn't happen.
I know, right? I was a little disappointed in that. I'm like, well, I didn't work myself up now.
Yeah.
And it's still on.
I think it was a good training ground for us.
It really was. I mean, because if you
that's
think
why
now...
we didn't worry about COVID.
Yeah, I mean
they started shutting the world down on us in 2000.
With COVID, I didn't even catch it one time.
It took me 9 or 10 months, and I didn't quit working through COVID. I did not take a stimulus check during COVID. I continued to work, and I joined the Holiness Church during COVID, February of 20. Yes, during COVID. So I found a group of people that felt like I did. You know, the end of the world was coming, and we believed in God, and so we were, you know, we just walked forward. I mean, either you believed in God or you didn't. You were ready for it. I think that basically helped me feel better about not getting the vaccine.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Being a member
I'm
with a group,
also not vaccinated.
with a group of people that had enough faith to say, you know,
I didn't trust it. I'm sorry, but if it took that long to come up with some kind of flu shot, and they didn't take that long for that, you sticking that in my body.
Right. So
shoot, I care about it too much.
You know, yeah, it is definitely, we have seen the times. As in when 2000, you know, we never thought we would see any days like we do now. Yeah. So it's a whole different...
I think it helped prepare us as older people, you know, like as we got older, it helped us prepare for what's coming up next. Right. So like when we hear about things, we're like, okay, we've dealt with worse.
Right.
I mean, because we've dealt with worse.
We had, you know, we went through the whole AIDS epidemic.
Yes. I remember that. And everybody
80s and 90s.
Covered from head to toe.
We went through that. Yep. So, I mean, you know, it was For me,
and now it's not even a death sentence anymore.
They were talking about COVID, and I'm like, man, COVID's nothing.
Right?
We tattooed through an AIDS epidemic.
I know, right?
You know? Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
COVID ain't nothing. It was just like the flu.
No, and remember how bad chicken pox
Oh,
were?
God.
When we were
My mama used to have the parties.
Hurricane Frederick. We wasn't scared of COVID.
My mama had chicken pox parties, measles parties.
Right.
I mean, they would literally have parties with kids and us. Nowadays, they don't do that.
That's it.
And I'm like, my mama was tough. I mean, I was telling Creighton about this, like, we had to wing it. When we had children, we had to make sure they stayed alive. Yeah. And now they got these.
We didn't have helmets and knee pads. Yes. We rode our bikes, we wrecked, and we loved it.
And now they got like these electronics that, and I'm like, that ain't how you do it. That baby ain't gonna stay with that all of its life, Then that's where they get paranoid and take them to the doctors, and it ain't.
That's
wrong.
where you mess up. You start going to the doctor.
Yes.
You're gonna find something wrong. You will leave with a prescription, I promise.
Oh yes, every time.
And the side effects would be worse than what you were given it for.
Oh, I know.
Well, we were talking about that earlier before the podcast. Is when we grew up. We had mental disorders, all right. We had anxieties and fears, and but they
didn't really talk.
We got over it.
Yeah, they didn't talk about it.
Now they write a prescription for it.
Yeah,
and they put a label on it.
Yeah, I mean the doctors. If you told them, they pretty much they told you how to, they told you how to do it, but they didn't write them out.
Right.
And now they just like, okay.
Yeah. Well, everybody has.
I'm giving you this.
Everybody has a prescription.
Pain management.
Right. I had to,
actually
for mine, I have ADD, attention deficit disorder. So they didn't start by just prescribing me something. Like I took a test.
Yeah.
So they tested for it, and they tried to do ADD and ADHD because it was all under one thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the hyperactive. It's just I couldn't focus properly, and I would get done with my work in school, and I would just get up, walk around, help other kids and stuff like that. So when I got tested for it, my dad didn't really understand, neither did my parents, and I didn't either. I'm still learning about it, and now my dad has it, and he'll ask me and be like, so how did whenever you take your medicine, how do you do this, do that? I'm like, okay, well, you do this, you have to focus on eating because it can curb your appetite. That is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I started off with Concerta when I was going into 5th grade, I think. That's what I started with, and then going to middle school, just up my dosage. High school is whenever I switched to Vyvanse, and that helps me a lot.
My brother was on Ritalin. That was the main thing back in our day was just Ritalin.
Now you just got whipped with a flip flop, and your butt was bad.
Oh, I got whipped with a switch.
I got switch. That's the thing. I still got whoops, and
I got whoopings,
I got switch.
Yes. You got put in the principal's office. Now you get a prescription, and
it's so crazy
I got
now. Okay, so we'll get back on track. So I know boxing has a lot of discipline and focus and stuff like that. How did you translate that into being more of an entrepreneur than what you were before you started boxing?
Well, it's just what it is goal setting. It's just goal setting, and I'm very blessed to have never had attention deficit disorders, and I know that I'm blessed because a lot of people have them. They really do, and I don't know if the ADHD, if they've labeled it as genetic or not.
It is genetic.
It is genetic. Yeah. But I did not have the genes of that.
Yeah.
My parents were they never smoked, they never drank, and we were raised in a real clean household on that level, and I'm blessed by that. It's you don't hear anybody say that anymore, and I think that my parents not smoking, not drinking, I think that is the foundation of my ability to set goals, and it's a lot of it is how genetics plays a part of it, and I feel so sorry for the world has ADHD. It really does. It's a different time and a different era, but none of that ran in my family, and I'm just lucky, and luck is for the pagans. I'm a Christian, so I'm blessed, and so I think that's a big part of it. Just not being distracted with chemicals. And being raised up by somebody who, such as my father, who set goals, and that's how I was raised. So it was just a matter of goal setting. When I started boxing, I've always been very disciplined. I could absolutely do whatever I set my mind to do. And, there's a formula, all that. Set the goal, plan the work the plan. Slow and steady wins the race, boom. And so that's basically the formula. Plan the work the plan, slow and steady wins the race, boom. So that was it. I never had a problem getting focused.
BeeBee and Ashley forgot to say we were going to go commercial break. So now we go to commercial break. I hope you sit and watch and enjoy our new commercial break. Okay, here comes commercial break.
Welcome to Two Sisters Drinking Tea podcast, where warmth and laughter flows freely as the tea. Join us on our journey of sisterly chats, delightful spirits, and heartwarming stories. Love our podcast? Support us by buying us a coffee. Your donations keep our teacups full and our conversations flowing. Every sip helps us create more content for you.
So brew yourself a cup, settle in, and let's share some stories together. Feel free to donate and help us keep the lights on by buying us a cup of coffee at Buy Me a Coffee.
Welcome to Two Sisters Drinking Tea.
And I'm blessed. That's all it is to it. So, yeah, it's goal setting up. I ended up in that boxing gym working out, with Round Yonker. I did not take it serious. I was not there to take a pro fight. It all came an accident. And I was always one of those people too that, yeah, I can do that. People throw something my way. Yeah, I'll take it. I can do that. I can do that. Like I said, they kind of put a lot of glitz and glamour on it. Oh, you're going to open the Ali Martin fight. And it's going to be so great. I took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. After I signed that contract, well, I knew what I had to do. And working out has always been enjoyable for me. Going to the gym has never been a big a setback for me. I've always been one to get up, go to the gym, get up, go running. I like physical activity, and that has to be part of it. It's got to be in you. It's got to be in you to run those miles, to go in there and shadow box for 2 hours literally is what it takes. And then right up before the fight, you start sparring, and I didn't like that part. I didn't like getting hit back. I did not like it. I can remember being punch drunk, after sparring, being dizzy-headed. I hated that. And I can remember saying, if I can just get this fight over with, I'll never do this again. It wasn't the running. It wasn't working out. It wasn't jumping rope. It wasn't rounds and rounds and rounds of rope. I liked all that.
Yeah.
And I was, to be honest with you, I was scared to death. I was scared to death. And I knew what I had to do to get in there, win that fight, and get out. And that's exactly the way it happened. I don't love the boxing world. I was able to adjust to it. That's another great quality that I have, is just being able to, when in Rome, do as the Romans. I can get in there and get my hands dirty with everybody else. Got the T-shirt and the cup. Okay, check that box.
Yeah.
So that's. If I knew what I knew now, I have a lot of vertigo. I have nerve damage, the nerves behind my eyes. Yeah. And I have vertigo. And it's so dangerous when the studies they show, after being hit in the head so many times, the brain bruising. They have so much information now. The NFL has provided that, where they've done so many brain scans of the players, all those concussions. It's just not safe. And God just didn't make my head for somebody to swing at. And I'm not supposed to be swinging at anybody else's head. But, it was the time. Yeah. And, I've had a great life, but looking back, I'd probably do it all over again. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? I'd do it all over again.
I feel the same way with some of the stuff that I do. I'm like, No, I'd do it. To get to where I am,
Right.
I would be like, I may have tweaked a few things.
Yeah.
But getting to where I am now, I'm pretty happy.
And you know what? You're blessed. You know.
My first marriage, I had to deal with being hit in my head and.
So you know.
Yeah, I've had my skull cracked.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
a
can't tell
bunch
you
of
how
stuff.
many times.
I mean, he messed me up pretty bad. And I was lucky though and blessed to have 4 children that I had to raise by myself, of course. But
wow, congratulations for doing that.
I mean,
good job.
My son right now, I mean, he's in the military.
Nice.
My oldest daughter, she's the manager at the main branch at Starbucks in Washington State or whatever. My other one, you know, she works at the city pound thing or whatever, or the county. And my other daughter, I don't really talk to, so that's another story.
That's another story
That's a
for
whole
another
nother
day.
story.
But you know, the end days, for those out there who do have any biblical knowledge, it speaks to the days that, you know, daughters would be against mothers.
Yes.
And you know, you're not alone.
Mhm,
It's very unfortunate, but you're not alone.
What are your future goals and aspirations, both personally and professionally?
Oh boy. You know, my husband died in 20, and this was a time in my life where, you know, I stayed single throughout. I got married when I was 21, got divorced when I was 25, and being single it's the reason I was so successful, because I didn't have the distraction. And so after my child got into her early teen years, I really realized how important it was going to be for me to be there and raise her. So I walked out of the limelight. I walked off my television show in 2012, and I got married in 2020, and I was really looking forward to being a wife and being home with my daughter throughout her teen years of 16, 17, 18, 19,
that's the
20.
hard years too.
Yeah, because it's you know, now 18, 19, and 20, we've protected our children so much, and they've grown up with the internet, so they have so much knowledge with no life experience.
Yeah.
You know, the computer has trained our children. It raised our children for us, and we've got a different mindset. And our kids do need us at age 18, 19, and 20 now. It used to be 18, you join the military and go off, or you leave and go to college. Well, it's not really happening like that anymore. And so, you know, I really was focused on being a wife and being a mother, and my husband did pass. And so now, you know, I didn't think I was going to be single again. And I've just got to kind of, you know, I was single all throughout my career, so that wasn't, you know, it was kind of like part of my life where I wanted to, as funny as it sounds, but I've got a huge animal farm. You know, I never had time
I love animals.
I never had one pet, because I was filming television, running a tattoo shop, running a smoke shop, running a bar, running a boutique. You know, I was doing
You just kept busy.
Right, exactly. It was very much addiction to a hustle and a grind, and the constant go. Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's me now. I'm like, I hustle.
Right.
You know, I try to do whatever I can to make money.
Well, you have had your life of being a mother and raising your kids. Now they're grown. Well, see, that's me in reverse. So it's like, man, I really don't care to go back to work and open more businesses.
Yeah.
However, I'm a little bit bored. I am a little bit bored.
So I've always like worked for what I had, even like not having a job. I got my first job when I was 16. Well, if you count babysitting.
It is.
Then,
Babysitting's definitely
so
a job.
that would be 15. I worked in retail when I was 16. I swam all throughout high school. I played basketball. I ran cross country my last 2 years of high school, graduated during COVID. So not working for me, honestly, it kind of made me lazy a little bit during that time. And getting the unemployment I put towards school.
Good for you.
Like I couldn't.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't touch it unless I needed to. So what are like some future goals that you have, or that you're planning on doing?
I was gonna grow old gracefully, so I thought. But I you know, there's many skill sets of life that in my golden years, which whatever that is, you know, that I've told you I joined a holiness church in 2020. And as simple and as silly as it sounds, but I would really like to probably have my own Bible study group. I know nobody expects me to say that. It's like, really?
Actually,
I know.
That's cool as hell.
I didn't mean to disappoint anybody.
I know,
but
that's really cool to like do that. Not only that, but to kind of leave that legacy.
Yeah, you know, just kind of, I'm going to be honest to everybody. I'm one of the end time prophecy people. I'm preparing for the end of the world. There's some ministries that I study online. Of course, I am a licensed consultant, and there's things that I do that, you know, is the not so glamorous side of Chastity, you know, like real estate investments and things like that. I did investments and things that would take care of me throughout my retirement. But as far as me telling anybody, oh, I'm going to go back in the tattoo business, or, you know, I'm going to do this crazy, new and exciting. No, I really don't like computers. The less time I spend on a computer, the better off I am. I'm really involved in my animals. I would like to start an animal rescue. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'd like to start an animal rescue. I found that I liked animals so much more than people.
I think a lot of people can. I for sure can relate to that. Just liking animals a lot more than people, because some people we're so fucking stupid. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I said, being in the hustle and the grind, I couldn't have a dog. You know,
I got 5 of them.
Yeah, I used to work 20 hours a day. Literally, people don't realize that. LA Body Art was a 7-day a week, 24-hour shop. Yeah. And the truth is that that's what I did. I worked literally 20 years of my life. I worked 20 hours a day. I couldn't have a dog. I couldn't have a cat. Now here I'm in life. Well, guess what? You know, I have 8 dogs, 5 cats, lizards, spiders, and I really like my animals. So, you know, now I'm the old woman with the chihuahuas. The prophecy came true. The prophecy came true. You know, Bible study, my animals.
Start crocheting.
I love short dogs. So
right.
You know, just sitting on the porch, just listening to hymns, just the gospel turned on, just be like, amen. Sitting there knitting and crocheting.
I'm out of the fast.
I try to crochet and I can't do it.
I taught myself how to crochet. It's actually good.
I tried.
It's simple.
I tried.
Anything is possible. Anything's possible. Yeah. And you know, who knows? I might find that fast lane again. Anything's possible. Yeah. Never say never.
We might see her on TV one day and she'll be like, you know what? Screw it. I opened it up again.
Yep.
You never know.
And guess what? You can go pray in the back. Whole church in the back. Get you a tattoo and go pray. There you go.
That's right.
You need somewhere to study the Bible? Here you go.
Exactly.
What's your favorite tattoo that you've ever done? Like,
man, I'll tell you right now, the tattoo that I did 1 million of them, and I can do it blindfolded, and it made me happy to do it, and I always loved tattooing the Tweety bird.
Oh, yes.
The Tweety bird, man.
I always liked,
Man, I did a Tweety bird tattoo I did it probably 3 to 5 Tweety birds a week for probably all throughout 1998.
I was going to say, if it was in the 90s, that was...
Yeah.
The tramp stamps.
Oh, yeah, the tramp stamps were fun. And I mean, just the good old-fashioned butterfly.
I still got tramp stamps.
You know.
I got so many.
They are coming back in swing. So, I guess my question would be, from, like, your tattooing background, what is one tattoo style or just in general that you would, A, either want to see come back, or B, should have been gone and left in the 90s, 2000s?
You know, beauty's really in the eye of the beholder, but I'm an old school tattooist that was taught with a bold line and good black shading, and I like to do flash artwork. I really hate that people can walk in with the telephone and tell you that they want, you know, they'll pull, I want this design now. Okay, let me just crank that right out. No, that's not the way that works. You know, I am an old flash tattooer, which means you go into the tattoo studio and you pick it off the wall. Yeah. I don't think tattooing really should have got out of that perimeter. I think that the tattooing industry has gotten really far out there, and it's a new school wave of tattooing, and it's the industry's completely different. And I feel like people don't really have the value for the tattoo that they had. They just really think that you can pull this design off the phone, bing, bong, bang. No, it's not like that. And especially someone of my mindset with my training and in the years is, it's for us to take that design, pull it from the screen, to make your copies, to pull it to paper, to alter the design so it is tattooable. Mm-hmm. And I mean, in the South, you've got all this suntanned tattooed skin. I got news, all these great tattoos online and on the computer. Tattooers, they tattoo every day, and they take their most perfect tattoos that they happen to do. They take that picture and they put it online, and it presents a tattoo that's perfect that everybody thinks they can have, and that's not the way it works. Number one, you have to be still. Number two, you've got to be skin. You got to have skin that doesn't have sun damage. There's a lot of elements to that perfect look, and so it's a delusion. When somebody thinks they're going to go get this tattoo, bam, and the only pictures that are posted are perfect pictures. Yeah. And nothing's, it's just not that way. So, take it all the way back to old school where they walked in, they picked it off the wall. We had the line drawn in the envelope. That's,
I kind of miss that for real.
Or if you do go, because my first tattoos was one on my ankle. It's an American traditional one. And I love American traditional.
Right. And
it is such, you can change it and do it in so many ways to where it's just great. But I walked in and I told them a concept that I wanted, right? Which was the Velociraptor claw from Jurassic Park, and a banner saying "Life always finds a way" instead of like "Clever Girl" or stuff like that you usually see with that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I did have to change the quote because the actual quote said in it. I'm not getting tattooed on me. That's stupid. People have stupid tattoos, but that would be stupid for me. But I like going in, and it was digital at first, but he came out with the paper that he had, and he didn't have just the one that he liked. He had different versions of it, how big it is, and colors and whatnot. If I wanted color, and I like that.
Yep, it's the era of customization. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anytime I went and got a tattoo, I'm like, the bigger the better.
Right.
I will say I have gotten some like $20, $13 tattoos, like Friday the 13th, but those are like tattoos, but I have a section for those tattoos. Like I have this leg is my dinosaur leg, this one's my patchwork, family, all types of stuff.
Yeah, I did one for my dad after he had passed away, because we like John Wayne. We watched all kinds of John Wayne movies.
Old John Wayne fans, huh?
Yeah, and so on there it says, you saw me take my first breath, I saw you take your last. I was right there when he died. Like I was sitting right beside him. So, and I mean, he was like my best friend, like my mom was. I was blessed to have great parents like that. Yep. I mean, they did smoke and they drank and stuff like that. But my daddy worked for the Mobile Water Company for 40-something years. My mama worked at West Bay on DIP. She worked, everywhere on DIP, Chevrons and stuff like that. She was popular out there.
So what is like a crazy experience or the funniest thing that has happened during your tattoo or fighting career, even as a businesswoman, like crazy people coming into the shop or just some oddball shit that you have gone through as an entrepreneur? And
I'll tell you something that happened. Well, tattooing on Dolphin Street, I used to be next to the Cannon Brew Pub, and it was the brewery, and that was like the first brewery that we had in Mobile, and that's in the age when now you've got a couple breweries. We've got you've got the commercial brewery, BJ's Brew House, and now you've got Oyster City Brewing. But this is before there were breweries anywhere. So it was the first brewery. And 9/11 had happened, and so it was the climate of being unsure and not knowing what was happening and things like that. I think we were all on edge. And anyway, what that has to do with this is we were next door to the Cannon Brewery. And they had a cannon it's a 2-story building on the 2nd story. And they had never, who would have ever thought that cannon could have really been shot? We didn't know. Well, I'm tattooing, and all of a sudden, boom. And after that boom went off, we all hit the deck. We all jumped down.
Oh, shit.
And we were like, what is going on? I mean, any weird explosions, the week or two after 9/11, I'll never forget that. I literally thought we had 9/11 right on our, right on Dolphin Street. Yeah. But it was just the Cannon Brewery. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm the reason that cannon was never shot again.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
I could not.
After a few letters to the right people and it got handled, we weren't going to have any more things being fired on Dolphin Street. Shit. So anyway, that was the first and only time that it ever got shot. And I was tattooing when that happened.
First and last.
Yeah. It wasn't cool at all.
Hit the deck. That's just.
Hope the tattoo came out right.
Right.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Right. I'd love to see that person that I was tattooing. Actually, come to think of it, wow. But it's in a tattoo shop, working every Mardi Gras downtown. That was neat, man. It was really neat. But like I said, they were the great days,
Yeah. I remember your shop was just packed all the time.
We were the real forerunner, and we were running 24 hours. We had Screaming Pink Neon in the windows, and our television show was aired in 3 states. So we had people traveling. Literally they would make a weekend of it. We brought a lot of tourism to Mobile because of our show being down in Fort Walton Beach in that area. Mobile was a hot spot for getting tattooed. We did that. We made that happen. So, I've like I said, I've had a great life.
Well, I can tell you, Chastity, thank you for not telling the story about you beating my ass on TV.
Right?
Whoa!
Right?
Hold up.
She can tell it.
Hold up.
Wait.
I want to know this.
Yes, so do I.
Well, actually, we had a skit. It was on the, Prime Time with Robbie Tomlin, man. And for those of you who are my age, you might remember that show. And for those of you who are your age, you didn't have the pleasure of knowing Prime Time with Robbie Tomlin.
Yeah.
Shout out to Robbie Tomlin out there. I just saw him recently. And, there's been Comcast Cable in Mobile was a great platform for local talent, for people who were able to put together their own television shows and things like that. And gosh, is Comcast still going on? Does anyone know? Does Comcast still have any television shows?
I think they do, but not out where I'm at. I live so far in the country, I only get maybe 1 or 2 internet.
Well, the internet's taking over all those companies.
Yeah, I get on apps. I don't have cable.
The apps now, people don't even watch television anymore, do they?
Yeah, well, they do have Fox 10 app, so
okay.
That's how we watch our Fox 10, and then we watch Fox News, and so I'm just stuck watching that for 5 hours every day. My husband just constantly watches it.
But I want to get to the fact that she beat
Creighton's ass.
Creighton,
I want to hear about that.
Creighton Hobbs, the producer of this podcast, he was a sidekick on the Robbie Tomlin show, and so anyway, it was a skit. It was a skit that we had to do, and I had to, get tough with Creighton. And anyway, Phil, I do remember it, Creighton. I do. What was there a main hook to it?
Yeah.
What was the main hook? I just know they told me what I had to do.
We had the grandioso idea of I was the guy that would go out on all these dates, and then I would have these horrible date, experiences and things like that. And finally, I went out on this last horrible date, and guess who came out to save the day? Wonder Woman. Chastity came out and whipped my ass about it.
She should have saved you on this past date then.
Right?
My gosh, he called me up with he called me up, it was like a horror story. This past day he had, I said, dude.
I knew they should have never
Damn it, Wonder Woman, come on.
I knew Tinder was a bad idea.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that's what Don asked me. He's like, did you get on Tinder Plenty of Fish or something?
Right.
Because when I was like, dude, no. And then he was like, when he was telling me more and more, I'm like, please, please, please. Like, this is like a horror movie. I feel like I'm in a horror movie.
I know, he
right
told me
now.
about it, and I went, Creighton?
I'm the
Hobbs.
only one here that has not heard the story.
He had this date. He had this date.
Oh my God.
He went to kiss the poor girl on her lips, and she said, "No,
Oh,
my teeth
kiss
are
me.
loose."
My teeth is loose. My teeth are loose.
And not only that, but she ate his food up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she ate his food up. Like, she's making sandwiches and.
She had, so what he was telling
He
us.
went to kiss her on the side of the cheek, and she
Cutthroat
said,
kitchen
"You
on the
can't kiss
first
me there
Yes.
either."
Yeah, so he had brought her here, she stayed the night. Bringing her back, he had,
It's like the
No
rain judge was
power.
playing.
and then she's like, oh, you can turn down here. Just this shitty ass back road.
Yeah, she
He's
lives in
telling
a
me
camper
this.
with no electricity. She brought her own fork.
neighbor. Yeah, her
But-
neighbor.
She had to have been cute.
I don't know.
I don't know. Creighton wouldn't show me the face.
Yeah, Creighton.
He just showed me a picture of her wearing his Star Wars shirt with no. I just saw from here down. I didn't even see
So
a face.
she wasn't that cute.
I don't even know.
Apparently.
He didn't show me the face. I just saw from here down.
Oh no.
So
So
what site was this? Plenty of Fish, Tinder.
I think it was catchacrackhead.org
that-
or something. I don't know. But so he was telling me this, and he's like, yeah, but her neighbor's got a generator and a bin. And I looked at him, I go, Creighton, honey, I'm so glad that you're with us right now.
Yeah.
But you do know this is how True Crime Podcasts start.
My husband looked at him and
We
said,
would have been
"Dude."
looking for you.
Yeah, my
right
husband
now.
looked at him
right?
and said, "You need to go get checked."
Yeah. We were like, you need to go get tested. I looked at her, I was like, you see between her fingers, between her toes, back of her knees, her
I mean-
temple.
I mean, because he's like, she ate up everything. And including his Werther's, he has to have that, because he's got diabetes.
Right.
You ever seen those people who went on a crash diet and that's been on it, like Atkins and stuff?
Yeah.
And then
And
they
they're-
go to Golden Corral,
Yes.
and that first visit, they come back with
They came out like
plates
that much.
of food.
Oh, they play catch up, right?
That's what she did.
Jesus.
He made a BLT that day because I ate it, and he still had like a lot of lettuce left. And he goes, I'm not joking. She ate it all." I said, "She ate that much lettuce?" I'm like, lettuce ain't even a nutrition. She ate the bacon too.
Oh my God.
She didn't even leave his mom and daddy
So
nothing.
now I gotta know I have to leave one leaf of lettuce at least.
At least.
At least I know the rules now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
At least something like a
I mean,
slice
that was
of
crazy
bread.
though. I mean, because he will call me up with the horror stories, and I'm like, Lord help us, man. Lord help us. I'll go in. I'm like, Creighton, you gotta be more careful, dude. More careful. I'm like, are you sure you want her to go to the IP with you when we do our vacation thing? I said, you sure?
You
I think
better
he might have changed his mind.
lock up tight.
I don't know. He stopped by Palmer's. It's a gas station down the road from me, and she went in for cigarettes, and he's like, he gave her $2, and he's like, she's gonna be back out here again. She ain't gonna have enough money. She came back out. I ain't got enough money. So he hands her a $5, and she takes his lighter, and she told.
Look, this is
she
what I said. I said, Creighton, I was like, well, she ain't got no power. She needs it for light. He's like, she can use it for light. She ain't lighting candles, baby. She definitely not lighting candles.
No, because she's got
Or
like these
nothing.
little loose teeth, and she said her mama's got her insurance card, and her mama be over in a couple of that. Why's your mama got yours? Why she got it? That don't make no sense.
But come to find out, this is not his first encounter with this lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's known her for a while.
She was a wrestler.
Okay. Wrestling.
Was.
Was
Keyword.
No, it seems like a lot of the wrestlers now are just going downhill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, yeah, well, the fine lady, she stayed in a certain establishment and walked all the way to my house. I went,
Yeah,
I wish
she
somebody
walked all
would
the
walk
way
to my
over
house.
here, and he wasn't even home. His poor mama called up.
oh no.
His poor mama called up. What'd she say to you?
She's like, this poor girl is here and she's walked for miles and to come
Right.
and see you. I don't know what to do. I was like, she's like, I gave her some water.
Oh,
my
my
God.
Look at the
A
whole deal.
Gatorade, maybe?
Well, I told her, I was like, Mama, just give her a Diet Coke and tell her
Gatorade.
to hang
I
out
know
with
that girl drank his Diet Coke too. Left him one.
Wow.
A whole case.
Jeez.
He said she kept getting up and going to the bathroom. And he
She
thought
drank a case of Diet Coke.
well, that's what he's thinking, but I'm like, nah, she went in there to do something else.
Yeah.
Creighton.
Well,
You know.
Mhm.
You know.
There's only one or two reasons why anybody goes to the restroom for that long. Either they
Diabetes?
have a UTI.
She didn't have
Or-
diabetes, though.
I'm just
She didn't
saying.
have diabetes.
Hey, I love producing content for the show.
I know.
That was something.
I know, but I mean,
Takes it for
but
the team.
he always tells me
Craig's
these
taking
horror
it for the
stories
team.
and stuff. Like when he got his eyes done, I felt like I was on that movie. What was it? You know where people were people were getting killed. They were gonna die before
Final
they died.
Destination.
That's it. Final Destination. Thank you.
I still can't drive behind log trucks.
Me
I
neither.
refuse.
I don't. I just get over to the next lane. I'm like
Log trucks or anything.
But
that
he
has
would
anything
call me
in
up
the
and I'm
back.
like, dude, it sounds
Why
like you're
not?
on one of the movies. I'm like, you keep calling me with these horror stories. Now I'm glad I'm married and I ain't getting my eyes done. It got me scared. I'm like, I'm glad I'm married. And if I wasn't, I'd be single. He done got me scared. I would be single. If I wasn't married, yep, that's it. I'd go out. I'd just go out. Just.
All you got to do now is get an AI
Mhm.
AI boyfriend or girlfriend.
Oh, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. You know?
I mean, I actually.
I did say I am being sarcastic.
Yeah, I mean, well, they do have them.
Yeah, they do.
They have,
really
like,
do.
sex bots.
Those types of people, they are.
I talk to Siri enough, so
They
you know,
are.
I'm not
I tried to do that
It's not-
yesterday and she wouldn't answer me.
Right?
That's not my cup of tea because they.
Now, my Alexa's different.
Mm,
She answers me.
those people that are like my boyfriend or my girlfriend's AI. You don't wash your ass. Take a shower.
Right?
Please. For the love of God, just take a shower.
I know.
Or the people that have like body pillows and stuff like that.
That and the catfishing that they do nowadays because of the internet.
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, no. I mean, I literally had this done. Like, this guy sent me a picture of him when he
no.
was younger and he looked like Eminem. And I was like, oh, he looks good. This motherfucker came over there looking like Rodney Dangerfield.
Right.
And he was driving in a van with a disco ball in it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you gotta go. You gotta go. No. He's like, this is, I'm sorry that, I did crack a lot or whatever.
Ooh.
You gotta go. You gotta go. Just go. Just go. I'm walking in. I can't deal with this no more. I gave up on dating for a while.
So they have convinced me I'm not computer dating. It's just not.
No, it's not
No,
I'm
worth
not
it's
it.
going to
not.
computer date.
It's not worth it.
They catfish so bad
It's
on
not.
there. And now with AI, they make them look better. Like, you don't see no flaws on nobody, so when you meet them, there's flaws. You're like, wait a minute, that's not you. If you can, give any advice to women out there who is wanting to start a business or advice that you would give to help more women start up their business, what would it be?
So, things that are available now that were probably available then, but I didn't have the knowledge. Knowledge is really power. But there has always been, this is America, the greatest country on earth. And I'll tell you, as a woman, there's a lot of grants that you can get for your first business. And there's so many opportunities for women. And when I started my business, you could not get on the computer and tap it in and receive the information. It wasn't like that. You had to know somebody who was in the know. And as a woman now, if you want to start a business, there's no reason not to. You can find there's a lot of grants. There's so much for women in first-time businesses. But definitely take the opportunity. Open your own business. Do it when you're young, when you don't have kids. Because when you have kids, I'm from the 80s generation, the We Can Do It movement. Everybody told us that we didn't have to stay home and raise our kids. We, career woman, go to school, be a career woman. They told us that we didn't have to be married to have kids. So, here we have the nuclear family. Well, guess what? Look where the world is now.
Yeah.
And that's the answer. So for women, get your business going when you're young, get your careers going. And when you do decide to have children, take time for your children and understand that it's going to be a balancing act that's going to be very hard, and you're going to have the support. And You know, it probably is best that you are married because parents need both parties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the 80s and they told us just the opposite. You
Yeah.
can do it. Be a career woman. You don't have to be married to have kids. Well, my advice to women is to start your business while you're young, get your grants, and when you do have your children, make sure you've got a good partner to have those kids with, and you've got good backup. And so you can balance the scales of being a career woman and a mother, because the future of this world depends on you mothers and fathers raising your kids.
It takes a village.
And that does. It really does.
It really does take
And
a village.
if we continue not to raise our children, well, we see where the world's going.
Yeah, I mean,
we see where the world's going.
Yeah.
So my advice to anyone out there is, you know, find the balance. Find the balance.
Oh yeah. Okay. So anyway, we thank you so much for being on the show.
Great. Thanks for
And
having
we had
me, guys.
fun with
I
you.
learned a lot of
That's
things.
awesome.
Man.
And I mean, you know, I hope in the
I
future,
learned a lot.
we
Yeah,
have you back
absolutely.
on, you know, and stuff like that. All right. Well, we're done. All right. Well,
And
anyway.
tune in next time.
Yeah,
for,
tune in
I'm
next
sorry,
time
just
for-
tune in next week.
Tune in
Yeah.
next week for Two Girls
Um,
Drinking Some Tea.
That's it.
Yep.
And we'll have her back on. I
All
promise.
right. I'll see
Yeah.
you guys again soon. Thank
Oh,
you
yeah.
both.
Bye.
Bye.